Fist 1, Reason 0. Such a simple statement, yet so Symphogear. Okay, I have to level with you here, but Senki Zesshou Symphogear AXZ is outright my favorite anime of the year of 2017. And I know we have like a couple of weeks left, but I don't care. AXZ is my anime of the year. Why? Well, the Senki Zesshou Symphogear series was just an utterly amazing experience for me. From the first season's inconsistencies but brimming with personality, to G going goddamn crazy with its plot and characters, and was my personal favourite season of Symphogear, to GX's still having its own personality but felt less awesome in comparison to G. And now, AXZ comes into the fray and it's just as amazing. Maybe even better. Symphogear AXZ manages to blend all its character developments from our main Symphogear users, as well as its new villains this season. Its plot has stored up for 3 seasons to have some sort of major payoff while hinting at something even greater. Crazier battles, awesome OSTs, and cliffhangers Symphogear are so well known for making us guess what's going to happen next. All in this season alone. Oh, and spoilers ahead, you have been warned. In terms of characters, the majority of the main cast and new villains gets the spotlight this season. Let's start with Chris, my favorite character in the series, where we are introduced to 2 new characters, Sonia and Stefan Verena. Sonia knew Chris's parents before their deaths and became Chris's adopted parent before what happened in the first season. This little thread is what development we get from her, and it's pretty good looking at Chris's backstory towards her parents through Sonia, and getting past her own guilt, evolving her even further with this season due to this. Marie and Elf9 gets joint development this season. Elf9 for world building in the form of the Linkers, and improving and combating the new alchemist with a cameo from a previous season as a result. Maria, on the other hand, gets something similar to Chris's development, where she finds out what's keeping her back even when she wants to protect people, but just can't. And compounded with Elf9's involvement in the plot, we get to see some backstory on her and her sister Serena during her days even before G. So, all great all round. Shiraba and Kirika get some personality development, mainly in how both bring up a cascade onto themselves and how that affects their battle styles, and each of them has an episode dedicated to them. Character interactions also gets a boost in combating the new villains of this season, which means new styles from the Symphogears we've never seen before, and crazier than ever seeing new ways of different duos fighting Noise and the Alchemist. For our villains, we have a trio of villains of Saint Germain, Cagliostro and Prelati, with Adam Weishaupt being the ringleader and founder of the Bavarian Illuminati. No, not that one, who was loosely connected towards Carol from GX. Saint Germain and Cagliostro probably got the good end of the stick. Saint Germain won for being a rather sympathetic villain in comparison to Adam, and her interactions with Hibiki further down the line. Cagliostro merely gets the good end all due to her personality and the fight she gets into the Symphogears just made both of these villains some of the highlights of AXZ. Prelati, however, gets the short end of the stick by her focus episode, by being a rather anticlimax compared to Cagliostro's. That, and she had the shortest screen time of all the villains this season. Adam Weishaupt, for me, is the weakest link in this season, however, being the most generic, heartless, ringleader archetype villain and hating humanity and everything. He did get slightly better by the end of the season, but he left an even less impact than Carol from GX did. Seriously, as bombastic and crazier this season is, as well as its plot and character narratively driven focus AXZ has become, away from its slice of life elements it had from previous seasons, to say that it's gotten even more serious is an understatement. The writing is extremely clever, like AXZ was the thread that was meant to tie up all 3 previous seasons together into one story that led up to AXZ. Satellite, who did the animation, who did all the previous seasons' animation, still has its consistencies and bombastic nature that Symphogear always had, from the aforementioned crazier battles, decent backgrounding, and sleeker character designs. The only problem is that there are a few times where derpy animation appeared, though it's extremely rare. But seriously, I don't care, as the crazy battles and music made up for that, and all the derpiness can be damned to Hibiki's fist. The voice acting is amazing as always, from Aoyuki, Nana Mizuki, Ahai Takagaki, Yoko Isaka, Ai Kayano, Yoshino Nanjo, Misaki Kuno, Minaku Kotobuki, Ao Shota, Rina Hidaka, Shin Chomiki, and Hina Kino. Special mention would go to Ahai Takagaki, Aoyuki, Yoko Isaka, and Ao Shota for their amazing vocal range, battle cries, and amazing dialogue, with Ao Shota's cross-dressing voices and doing it extremely well, and Aoyuki doing Hibiki like Hibiki as always, and loving every time Aoyuki's honed battle cries and battle dialogue are just fueled with adrenaline. Nana Mizuki probably gets the best vocal voice acting through AXZ's opening Testament, which was my favorite opening for summer 2017, as well as the Symphogear XD Unlimited opening Unlimited Beat as an insert song. And heck, Ahai Takagaki's ending for AXZ Futurism being great as well, as I never skipped that ED either. The voice acting and soundtrack is amazing, expected from Symphogear. With me giving off the anime of the year for 2017 and all the praising I have done on this review, Symphogear, however, like many media, does have its flaws. Such flaws as the fact that the main cast and new villains, bringing in the focus of the entire season, makes the minor characters, mainly the Beef Stroganoff trio, gets little to no screen time, and thus gets the brunt of this flaw. And even slightly, Miku gets this, but becomes an important figure towards the climax of the anime. On the note of Miku, Hibiki is the only one of the main cast I did not really flesh out in my character section. This is because Hibiki takes a rather backstage presence in comparison to the previous seasons, and Hibiki, like Miku, doesn't get into proper focus until the last 3 episodes. Maybe it was because of the backlash to Hibiki's father focus in GX that caused the anime to shift focus away from Hibiki? But nonetheless, for a main character, her screen time dwindled in AXZ. Now, is this bad? No, not completely, because it opens up the rest of the Symphogears I previously mentioned that only grows and evolves the rest of the cast. The only other major problem I had with AXZ was the villains, mainly Prelati and Adam Weishaupt, I mentioned before. Prelati barely got redeemed as a good sympathetic villain, but Adam Weishaupt is probably the weakest link to the entire anime, all because of how he is. Even so, with brilliant character development, especially from Marie and Chris, world building, craziest Symphogear battles, and just a bombastically amazing soundtrack, I see AXZ as evolving and learning from its previous seasons, while gunning in a newer, ambitious direction it has gone with. Senki Zesshou Symphogear AXZ is my favorite anime of 2017. It was the only anime of the summer 2017 season where I got pumped up to see what would happen next every episode, repeatedly watching awesome episode battles and speculating on the plot. AXZ, in terms of Symphogear seasons, ousted G from my favorite season, all due to its amazing plot progression, clever scripting, shittier and crazier battles, character development and evolution, world building, and an even grander spectacle, in a different way, of a finale than G. And yeah, sure, AXZ has plenty of problems, from the Symphogear series and media in general always having flaws, but what I see Symphogear AXZ elevated into best for me is that even if it has its flaws, I can look past that to get wrapped up and be absorbed by the crazy, bombastically, musically awesome world of Symphogear every time and loving every second of it. And that's what makes Symphogear AXZ my anime of the year.